All right, Alabama is among a handful of states holding primaries or runoff elections today. The Alabama GOP Senate runoff is getting a lot of attention. Trump initially endorsed Congressman Mo Brooks, but later rescinded that. Now he's backing Katie Britt. The two contenders are running to replace retiring Senator Richard Shelby, who has been in Congress for more than 35 years. The winner will likely prevail in November. Alabama is a very red state, and Donald Trump won that state by more than 25%. All right, now it's time for a little data that matter and data that don't. Let's welcome in now Mark Halperin, who joins us. Also, you know he's here with us today because I'm saying data instead of data. Chief White House correspondent James Rosen has joined us for some data that matter. He will go second. I will go last because I'm that kind of guy, a gentleman. We'll start with Mark Halperin, who's first. And Mark, your data point is 62%. And tell us why it's 62%. Why does this data matter?
John, do we have a graphic for this we can put up, or are you just having me talk?
You get a lower third. We don't have any animated graphics. We'll work up to that, Mark Halperin, but we can see the data on the screen here.
So lots of focus on whether people approve of the president's job performance. That's the key number for the midterms. And you see on the graphic there's 62% in a new poll that's just out today of independents don't approve of his performance. It's a pretty lofty number. It's that kind of number that has Democrats super worried. And so while you can look at his overall approval rating and you can look in a polarized country at the red-blue divide, 62% job disapproval from independents is going to cost Democrats a lot of seats in the midterms if that number stays where it is.
That's a big number when it comes to independents. We'll get to your data that doesn't matter in a second, but we'll stay with the important numbers first. And we'll go to James next, who has a nice round 140 for us. James, what do we learn from this number, 140?
Okay, so just again, for the sake of precision of terminology, for the benefit of our viewers, each of these is one datum. All right, that actually matters.
Okay.
But altogether, it's data. But all right, enough.
We like accuracy, James. I'm not going to fault you for it.
140 is. All right. 140 is the number of days left before the midterm elections. And it's instantly a datum that matters because it calls to mind other very important numbers. Just between Labor Day, which is the unofficial kickoff to the intensive fall campaign season, and Election Day, you've got 64 days. And the final number this brings up is between Election Day, which is November 8th, and the 1st of January 2023, around which time the victors in this year's midterm elections will be sworn in. You've got 56 days. So in essence, you've got 196 days between today and the swearing in of the new Congress, at which point most models are showing Republicans will be in control of at least one of the houses of Congress. And so all of this matters because it shows the really very rapidly closing window that President Biden and his aides face if they want to enact any more significant legislation, which looks doubtful at this point, or take any other bold executive actions in order to try to impact the balloting. So that's the first datum that matters.
We will be accurate and call them datum from now on. And, you know, it's always interesting in politics. A timeline can either seem infinite or minuscule at the same time. And, you know, 140 fits right into that window. All right, so I'm going to talk about my datum or data point that matters. And this is 52.1%. That's the margin of victory for Brad Raffensperger in his primary against Trump-endorsed Jody Heiss. And, you know, this is, you know, there's obviously a lot of victories for Donald Trump, Mark, when it comes to this midterm election. But this one was one that stands out.
President Trump's having a pretty good year politically, but Georgia remains a state that's just not good for him. And Raffensperger's win, if you imagine a world in which either he was in a runoff or where he had lost that primary, would be a very different world in terms of Donald Trump, both symbolically and substantively. Georgia is a battleground state now. It's got a big Senate race and a big governor's race this year. And it's going to be fascinating to see where Donald Trump fits in as we go forward in 2022 and on to 2024, as he relates to a state where it's clear that a lot of Republican voters have a much different posture towards him than some Republicans around the country.
Yeah, and you wonder if this is just, you know, isolated to Georgia, James, or is this, you know, the start of something that you might see spread across the country?
Well, and again, elections is always about splitting up the numbers and breaking them down. And We're seeing that Donald Trump made great gains in 2020, doubled his share of the LGBTQ vote, for example, to 27%, the highest that any Republican nominee in modern times has ever captured. We've seen the Republicans doing better with Latino and Latino voters. And so I think we're in a time of transition. The one datum that I think Mr. Trump is paying closest attention to in Georgia is the number one, as in there's only one district attorney in Fulton County, and that lady is pursuing one criminal investigation into the president for his activities post-election day 2020. And of course, that remains to be seen how that's going to turn out and what kind of impact that's going to have either in the midterms or beyond.
There's a three-dog night here joke that I'm going to leave for now. We'll leave the music jokes up to you. All right, so let's get to Mark's datum that don't matter. And what do you got for us, Mark? 82%. Let's talk about this.
82%. That same national poll I referenced before shows that 82% of Democrats approve of the job President Biden's doing. You could say, well, that's pretty good. Well, it's not. In our polarized country, it's actually pretty low. And what undermines it, again, to go back to the total universe of voters and of citizens in this country, those who don't approve of President Biden's job performance, okay, those who don't approve overall, 87% of them say the economy is getting worse. So I would say, while the White House can sometimes be let themselves be encouraged by his support still amongst Democrats, the fact that 87% of those who don't support the president's job, the job president's doing, say the economy is getting worse, that is a very big number. That is a number that, again, bodes very poorly for Democrats in the midterms. People do not see a theory of the case from this White House about how to make things better. And as we get towards the midterms, people are going to be looking for change. Even Democratic consultants will tell you, until people feel better about the job the president's doing on the economy overall, they're in a pretty tough position.
The thing I love about this segment is you can make it what you want, and sometimes you can have a counterintuitive approach to the data that don't matter, as Mark Halperin had right there for us. James, I want to credit you for finding maybe the most insignificant number anyone could find possibly for this segment, and this has to deal with the number 4. Please explain.
Yeah, I always take the assignment seriously. And the datum that does not matter in this case is number 4. That is the number of minutes that Kim Kardashian wore the famous Marilyn Monroe dress to an awards show a few weeks back. The reason the number doesn't matter, well, the whole thing doesn't matter because nobody's life or death hinges on the fate of the Marilyn Monroe dress, but to the extent that we want our institutions, public and private, that have interesting antiques and memorabilia and so forth to be good stewards of them, it matters in this sense. It turned out that Ripley's Believe It or Not, which had loaned the dress to Ms. Kardashian in exchange for 2 healthy financial contributions to charities in the name of Ripley's, has put out a statement saying that Kim Kardashian, contrary to early reporting, did not damage the dress, that the dress was supervised for all 4 minutes she wore it. It was taken good care of. But nonetheless, I think if you poll, I don't have actual data that matter or do not matter on this subject, but my hunch is that our audience probably believes what they heard in that early reporting, which is that Kim Kardashian damaged the Marilyn Monroe dress. In reality, she should never have been wearing that dress. What will be next? If I can give a suitable contribution to the charity of the Smithsonian's choice, can I wear Abe Lincoln's top hat to a mosh pit? It gets silly, but hey, this is why this datum did not matter.
Is that
James?
the dress?
Who are you wearing? James, who are you wearing today?
Only my hairdresser knows for sure.
No, I'm guessing Cy Sims.
I'm
guessing Cy Sims.
Yes, where quality
Sims.
and value matter. Sims, I miss Sims. I think is that the dress that Marilyn Monroe wore during the Happy Birthday song to JFK? It looks like it.
That's correct.
That's the only reason why I think anyone in this panel would care about that. My last datum point is the 18 cents. That's the federal gas tax holiday. It doesn't really matter what it is, 18 cents, 16 cents, couple cents here and there. Unless gas is below $4 a gallon, nothing really matters to the American public. That's the point at which everyone feels the pain. Gentlemen, thanks for playing with us. We covered a lot of topics, all the way from the primaries, runoffs, to Marilyn Monroe's dress. Only we can do those things here on this show. Thanks for playing along, guys. Mark Halperin.
Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Have a great day, John.
Yes,
James.
thanks, guys.